Hey students, welcome back to Yupp Master, and here now you are watching the class of botany after your class that you have finished right now with zoology. So just as you are getting interacted with more and more in biology, definitely you are going to learn so many things. Okay, right now our chapters are too much basic, maybe based on the examples and all these type of things. So the thing is how to memorize the example, as I told you in the previous class as well, and I am telling you these things from the beginning of our classes, that you need to make a copy in which you are going to divide the pages from A to Z alphabetically. Two pages are going to be enough, it is going to work better, and you need to repeat the example whenever you are going to see it on the board, in your book, or whenever you are getting in the questions, so that you can keep all the examples in your mind when you are going to see, when you are going to read, when you are going to write. Definitely your retention will be higher. This is what we need. The efficiency is going to be increased by this method. At the end of the session, you must be having two type of things with you. One is your own made dictionary, and the second thing is the class notes, which can be converted at any moment into short notes. Remember, for the exam strategy point of view, if you want to revise the topics, the best is to go through the notes, not through the textbook. This is the tip which is given by all the topper students, all the students, those who get selected at higher ranks. They all used to say that notes are going to be much better help as compared to any kind of textbook or the reference books. So don't get stuck to the reference book, try to understand them and then make your notes. This is how we are expected to study. Anyways, when we studied the root, stem and leaf, I told you that these parts in the plant, or these organs in the plant, are vegetative organs, and what they are expressing are vegetative characters. Okay. And thereafter, when we started inflorescence, we started with the line that was saying flower is a modified shoot, and I told you that from the flower itself we are moving towards reproductive characters or the reproductive organ of the plant. What kind of reproduction? See, in the root, stem, leaf type of places we have studied vegetative propagation, and here in the flower is responsible for sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Okay. So this is what we need to follow, and remember one thing very clearly, that let me remind you, those people those who are watching us on the YouTube live, subscribe the channel, press the bell icon so that you get the notifications about upcoming classes and upcoming score schedules. So simple that you need to study, you can get at the Yupp Master. Definitely whatever you need. You need 1, the strategy, 2, the classes, 3, the practice. These all things are provided at Yupp Master, and those who are watching us on the Yupp Master app, they must appear for the daily practice paper and continue your appearance in weekend exams as well, because your practice sessions are going to be the best one, and definitely this practice is going to convert you into a doctor, means a coming doctor, a medico in the future. So fine. Here we are going to start our class. The topic is flower. In morphology of flowering plants, when we are studying about the flower, then there we need to study about that the vegetative and the reproductive characters both are having morphological features. So when I am going to start with the flower, definitely the thing that I need to show you is parts of flowers. Clear? What a typical flower consists of. A typical flower means a general example that I am taking here, and what are the floral parts and what are the structures that we need to study or that we need to focus particularly in the flower. Okay, fine. So if I am going to study one by one the parts, if you are able to see on the board, it is longitudinal section. It is longitudinal section, right? Longitudinal section means when you are going to cut something from the vertical axis. Right? If you have a carrot, you are going to cut it longitudinally. That's it. Transverse section means when you are going to cut it horizontal way. If you are going to cut it this, you are going to have carrots in round and round pieces. That will be transverse. This is longitudinal section. Okay, right. Here I will say LS of a typical flower which seems suitable for studying the parts of flower. Okay, so here are the things that we are going to find out. So one thing may be less visible to you people, I am going to make it little bit more precise, and here is the thing that we used to call as calyx. The calyx consists of members which are called as sepals, and below is this structure which is the pedicel of flower, means stalk of the flower. Fine. So let me tell you one after one what are these parts. So as I am saying that this is the pedicel, means stalk of the flower, and if flower is not having the pedicel, we used to call it as sessile. Okay, we used to call it as sessile. Then next, this swollen tip is called as thalamus. Remember, clear? This swollen tip is called as thalamus. Okay, then comes the other parts. Fine, this is calyx. Now calyx is denoted as K. There is a symbol for calyx, we used to write it as K. Okay, and for calyx I can say this one thing, that it is whorl, means circle, of sepals, means each member is called sepal, right? Each member is called sepal. The next thing that we are observing just above this red structure, okay, this one is corolla, and for corolla we used to write the symbol as C. The symbol for corolla is C, and this corolla is whorl of petals. I'll maintain the uniformity. Hold. Okay, whorl of petals. Fine. So these two things together, calyx and corolla together, are written as accessory whorls. Why for? I'll tell you this thing later on, not here. Together, accessory whorls. Fine. Okay. So remaining parts we are coming to. This one and this one, these yellow stalked structure, okay, and this structure which is elongated tube like something. This is androecium, means as a total. And this one is representing what? Gynoecium. Okay, and when we are going to discuss about the members in the androecium and gynoecium, androecium is represented by A, gynoecium is represented by G. Clear? So these are the different things, A and G. Other characters, what other things that we need to tell? And those are, androecium is considered as whorl of stamen. This is stated as whorl of stamen. Stamens, these structure, these individual is called as stamen. Gynoecium is whorl of carpels. Okay, so we have studied what are the individual members. Gynoecium is represented by G, androecium by A, and here on this side corolla by C, and calyx by K. because I am going to use these only symbols later on, wherever needed, wherever it is appropriate, we are going to use these symbols. And together the androecium and gynoecium forms these together. Just like those are accessory whorls, these are called as essential. Now to know the meanings, we need to go further in the study of this flower. Okay, and by that time you need to know one thing. The division of, or I can just say other words like group of flowering plants is called anthophyta. ANTHOPHYTA. And study of flowers is called anthology. There are some other words as well. What other words? Anthesis means opening of flower, means from the floral bud the opening of flower is called anthesis. Okay, and one is called anthezin. That is the flowering hormone. So everything related to antho word is here. Okay, don't get confused about these things if you are doing some practice questions or if you are reading some other textbooks. So those words are mentioned over here, that what they mean actually. So this is a typical flower who is having both the parts, androecium and gynoecium. Andre means male, androecium means male part, gyne means the female part. Okay, so both parts are there, means the flower seems to be bisexual. Okay, as well as the two accessory whorls are present, that is calyx and corolla. Fine. So this is the structure of flower that we need to remember. So that is why we are saying that this flower structure is going to give us so many details about this entire description. Let's go further for this description. Here we are saying not only this, some other structures we need to study in addition. So if flower is a modified shoot, I need certain evidences for it. Means I am not convinced until or unless if anyone is going to tell me. I repeat this thing. See how I am establishing this thing. You can observe that this thalamus is bearing different floral parts from different places. Try to see it very carefully. The sepals, the petals, these androecium means the stamen and the pistil are not coming, pistil means gynoecium, are not coming from the same place. They are all coming from the different parts. Okay, means you can say this thalamus is getting compressed. This may be considered as a compressed type of stalk on which the different floral leaves are coming from different nodes. Compressed here means the nodes are not well separated. The nodes are not well separated. If in any case they get more separated from each other, then that will be reflected in these cases. So for example, first name is given for silene and it is written as anthophore. What does it mean actually? So if I am going to study about anthophore, the structure appears something like that. This is the pedicel. And here is the thalamus. Fine. Now the thalamus is supposed to bear the calyx, corolla, androecium, gynoecium, right? Fine. So the same is happening, but with slight difference. These are sepals, okay, and then comes the petal, and I can easily find out there is a difference in the positions of calyx and corolla, I can easily establish the internode between the calyx and corolla is elongated, whereas rest of the flower seems to be the same kind of compact one. Similar way. This is the gynoecium. So see what actually happened in this condition. We are observing that this internode between what? The internode between the calyx and the corolla got elongated. Now that structure is called as anthophore. Antho, flower, phore, bearing. Okay, the flower bearing internode has become elongated. Okay, so that type of thing we are mentioning over here. The internode between what? The calyx and corolla become elongated, as you see here. That is called as anthophore. So one of the evidence is not enough. I am going to consider the other evidences as well. The second example is about androphore. Now what does androphore means? So androphore seems to be the kind of structure where we are observing that androecium is little bit above, or you can say raised above the corolla. That's the thing. As usual, the thalamus, the swollen type of tip, the bulb-like tip of the pedicel, bearing the calyx and corolla almost from the same place. It seems to be the same place, calyx, corolla, very much close to each other. Okay, but what is different here? I am just saying that structure which is going to be different is this. I can easily identify that the structure means the androecium is much raised, or you can say much away from the remaining parts, means the lower organs or the corolla. So here this is the elongation. Okay, the internode elongated, elongation of internode between what? The corolla and androecium. The same will be the case if the gynoecium is much separated from androecium. So when we are mentioning these things, sepals, petals, androecium, they all are closely located. They all are closely located. Okay, fine. Seems to be from the common point. But the gynoecium is bit raised, or you can say little bit away, and easily identified coming from the other node. That's it. This is how we can establish the evidences. Elongated internode, between androecium and gynoecium. That is seen in Capparis. So such kind of conditions you can observe for androphore, gynophore, anthophore. You can say simply that here are the evidences to justify what? That flower is a modified shoot. If it is modified shoot, for what? For reproduction. This is additional line. These words are add-on. Okay. Now, if flower is modified for reproduction, then what kind of reproduction? As I told you in the beginning of this class, that flower is the structure which is responsible for sexual reproduction, whereas the earlier things that we have studied like leaf, stem, roots, those were all related to vegetative propagation. This is with sexual reproduction. So, if flower is modified for reproduction, then what are those reproductive parts? Fine. Here we say. So, that's why I am calling androecium and gynoecium as essential words. Why I am calling them as essential? Because as they are required for sexual reproduction. Okay. As these are required for sexual reproduction, I am calling androecium and gynoecium as essential. By the way, androecium means A, gynoecium means G in the symbolic form. The A is representing the male part of the flower. The gynoecium is representing female part of the flower. Okay. So, the male and female parts are respectively androecium and gynoecium. Now, the androecium is what? Androecium is the whorl of stamens, as I told you. It is whorl of stamens. Whereas gynoecium is whorl of what? Carpels. Maybe each carpel is going to form a pistil, or so many carpels get united together to form single pistil. Either cases are possible. So, if I am telling about stamen and carpels here, what we need to tell these things? About these things that we need to tell is like the stamen is here, the stamen. The parts of the stamen you need to know. Okay. This one is filament. These are anthers. The two important parts of stamen. Okay, these are two important parts of stamen, anthers and filament. Gynoecium is often related as pistil, or you can say even carpels are going to form the pistil. Now, dead pistil, if I am going to tell you here, the dead pistil consists of three parts. What are these three parts? The basal flask-like rounded portion here is ovary. Terminal to ovary, usually terminal means towards the apex side. Terminal to ovary is the tube-like structure that is style. And there is a receptive structure on the surface which we used to call as stigma, right? So, the stigma, style, ovary, these are the three things that we are telling here. Okay. Whereas in anther and filament, if I am discussing stamen, two main parts, there three parts. Corolla means this structure is represented as C. This is considered as accessory whorl. It is represented, single member is called petal, and we are saying that petals are often non-green. They can be either white or any other color, but not green. Okay. So, those structures are petals. Next is, other one is calyx. Now, what about this calyx? Calyx is denoted as K in the floral formula, K. And each member is sepal, or you can say calyx is whorl of sepals. If calyx is whorl of sepals, again I am saying sepals are mostly green in color. Okay. So, here is the thing that I am telling you, essential whorls means androecium and gynoecium are essential. Why? Because those are the parts which are required for sexual reproduction. There is nothing like mandatory presence of calyx and corolla. Flowers may be naked, means they don't have calyx, corolla around them, possible. Okay. So, that is why these are accessory. Okay. Essential because they are required for sexual reproduction. Okay, this is the thing that we need to know about. That is the simple one. Next, coming after the essential word, what type of things that we need to study in a parts of a typical flower? If we have studied these 1, 2, 3, 4 parts, we are saying this type of condition is seen in a typical flower. Now the thing is, flowers are there in which either male or female part is present, or either you can say calyx like or corolla like structure is present or maybe absent. Let's see. So here are some terms that we need to know. So a complete flower means the one who is having all the members, means having calyx, corolla, androecium, gynoecium, means this flower is essentially bisexual. Fine. If any one of the whorl is absent, how many whorls are there? 4. 4 are common, right? 4 are common. Means we are saying if any one of the 4 whorls is missing, then it will be considered as incomplete flower. Means if a flower is unisexual, definitely incomplete. Okay, other words are going to be here. We are going to follow them as well. So bisexual flower, there is a symbol used for bisexual as well. What? This is for male and this circle then plus is for female. Okay, this represents bisexual flower. Okay, in the symbolic form I can represent unisexual flower as well. If it is male flower, I will say it is a staminate. Means what does it mean by saying unisexual flower? Unisexual flower means having either androecium or gynoecium. If only androecium is present, that flower is called as staminate, and if only gynoecium is present, then we will call it as pistillate. Okay, these are the things. Some other terms are as well. What other terms? See, dichlamydeous. So we used to say that the outer means the accessory whorl is often stated as perianth. Accessory whorl is often stated as perianth. If it is differentiated into 2, means calyx and corolla. Fine. If it is not differentiated, then perianth only. If it is not differentiated, you will use the word perianth only. So we used to call perianth means P and as whorl of tepals. Individual members as tepals, and the symbol is P. For calyx, symbol is K. For corolla, symbol is C. For calyx, member is called sepals. For corolla, members are called as petals. So listen this carefully. I am saying there are the possibilities where the perianth is not differentiated. That type of example is called as monochlamydeous flower. Okay, and if the perianth is differentiated into calyx and corolla, then we used to call it as dichlamydeous flower. Getting my point? So in that cases, if none of them is present, means perianth is absent, there is no discussion about distinguishing into calyx and corolla. I am saying perianth is absent. Then if perianth is absent, that will be named as achlamydeous flower. Okay, that will be named as achlamydeous flower, means naked flower. Try to recall, as we have studied just in yesterday's class itself, in the previous class, the last class of inflorescence, there we have studied that euphorbia, the cythium was having achlamydeous or naked flower. At that time I told you that we are going to learn this thing in flower as well. Means the flower is naked, they were not having any calyx corolla around them. The stamen was representing the male flower, the pistil was representing the female flower, right? So that kind of condition is called achlamydeous. So if a flower is achlamydeous, incomplete. If a flower is monochlamydeous, incomplete. If a flower is unisexual, incomplete. This is how you can differentiate among the different type of flowers, right? Means complete or incomplete. Many other terminology will be there. Definitely, we are going to read them one after another, right? Fine. Coming to the next one. The next is about symmetry of flower. Now, what does it mean by saying the symmetry? Symmetry means when anything is divided into parts uniformly. You can divide the things into halves by cutting it along one vertical axis or any vertical axis, vertical or long axis. If you are not able to divide the structure into halves, it means the structure is asymmetrical. Asymmetrical flower. Kana, the flower is asymmetrical, means you can't cut the flower into equal parts, or you can say into halves. Can't be divided into halves along any long or vertical axis. The next is about radial symmetry. What about the radial symmetry? Radial symmetry is something like a rounded structure, or you can say the organs or the parts are distributed along radially, means along the radii. So in that cases, if I am going to cut the structure from this plane or from this plane, obviously it is going to be in equal parts, means halves can be created along any vertical or long axis. Can be divided into halves. Along any vertical or long axis. That will be called as radial symmetry. Whereas if you are able to divide the structure into two only along one axis, it may be like bilateral symmetry, just like our body, right? Means if we are going to cut our body from this vertical axis, we will have two equal parts, or you can have the halves, right? But when you are going to cut the body from this plane, obviously you are not able to get the body into halves. Okay, so our symmetry type of thing is called as bilateral symmetry. Now remember, symmetry has nothing to do with the number of parts. Symmetry has nothing to do that how many parts or how many members are there within the world. Members may be 4, members may be 5. That doesn't matter. The thing is about axis. Can be divided into halves along only one long axis. That is bilateral symmetry. So we have other names for radially symmetrical flower or bilateral symmetric flower. We have the names. These are, please present the names here, and they are: radial symmetry is seen in actinomorphic flowers. Actino means rays, just like sun rays. Actinomorphic flowers. And those who are having bilateral symmetry, they are called as zygomorphic flowers. Okay, so these are the things that we can mention about actinomorphic and zygomorphic. Clear? So this is the symmetry of flower. Asymmetrical flowers are seen in Kana. Zygomorphic symmetry is seen in the flowers like pea, bean, gram, okay, gulmohar, cassia, ocimum. And radial symmetry in or actinomorphic flowers are of mustard, means radish also, China rose means cotton ladyfinger also, datura means brinjal and tomato also, lily means glory lily or gloriosa also. So among the families actually. So this is the thing that I told you about the symmetry of flower. Remember, the question can be asked about the number of examples they are giving and then asking how many of the following or which of the following are actinomorphic, not actinomorphic, zygomorphic, not zygomorphic, or which of the following is not symmetrical, right? Such kind of questions can be put up. Fine. So here we are moving to the next insertion of floral leaves. Now how the floral leaves are arising on the thalamus. Androecium, gynoecium, petals, sepal, all of them are considered as floral leaves. Okay, but how they are present with respect to each other? We are going to consider them with respect to the ovary, means the gynoecium. Okay, if I am going to observe this diagram, what I came across with is that the floral leaves, or you can say simply, this is sepal, this is petal, this is stamen. These three all are present or arising from the points which are below the ovary. Who is lying above? Ovary. Who is lying below? The rest of floral parts or floral leaves. So the floral leaves here are considered below the ovary. Okay, so that's why we are calling it as hypogynous. Hypo means below. Hypo means something which is below. Gynous is for gynoecium, means female. So it means the ovary is above and the rest of the floral members are below. That's why we used to say when petals, sepals, stamen are situated below the ovary. That condition is called as hypogynous. And remember this, that ovary being the part of gynoecium, remember this. Ovary is present above all. That's why we are calling it as superior ovary. This is called as superior ovary. I told you that just now. I said ovary being the part of gynoecium. Okay, so we used to say that ovary G, and if it is superior, means the rest of the floral parts of floral leaves are below the gynoecium. We used to make a line like this. In the symbolic representation, superior ovary is written in this way. Okay, superior ovary is written like this. Fine. So this is the thing that we used to study as insertion of floral leaves. First type, hypogynous. Examples are given over here. Mustard, radish obviously, then China rose and brinjal. Brinjal, and then in China rose, if I am saying ladyfinger and cotton, obviously. Brinjal means tomato, potato, datura, petunia, chili, all are along with this. They have hypogynous flower or they have superior ovaries. This is the next one. Here it is something like the thalamus is rising upwards, but before that you need to watch it very carefully. It is like something as a plate like structure, and the different floral parts are coming almost at the same level. If this is the position of what? Gynoecium, the androecium, the calyx, means, and the other things all are almost on the same level. Now the thing is, thalamus has little bit rise up, and then we are observing this structure is where the floral leaves are present on the rim of thalamus. Okay, so we call it as perigynous. Peri means around. Clear? Around the female. They all are almost on same level. Just only one thing is that the thalamus, the plate is going to rise from the side and forming a bowl like structure, something that. So thalamus grow upwardly, parts of flowers are located on the rim of thalamus, around you can say. Clear? Around you can say. Now the question arises that what about the ovary then? Is it superior? What about the floral leaves then? Are they inferior? Answer is no. They are not superior or inferior. For ovary you can say half superior, then members will be half inferior. For members you can say half superior, then ovary should be written as half inferior. Okay, so this is how we can differentiate. So this is not a story about the superior or inferior ovary right now. Here it is the condition which I can say the ovary is half superior or half inferior, either cases. If anyone is asking that which of the following is not showing superior ovary, so include everyone except hypogynous. Okay, this is not the superior ovary. Seen in the members like plum, peach, rose, they all are belonging to similar family. They are belonging to Rosaceae. Okay, Rosaceae family, they all are having the same condition. Even the apple lies in the same place. Okay, next to perigynous. The third possibility is that the ovary is getting below the floral leaves. Sepals, petals and stamen, they all are arising above the level of ovary, you can see. What happened actually? Now this time the thalamus entirely, means it is going to surround the ovary completely and then bearing the rest of the floral parts. So the rest of the floral parts are what? The rest of the floral parts are superior. It means ovary is inferior, right? Here the condition will be ovary is inferior. So here I can say the floral leaves are epi, means above, and gynous means female. Okay, this is the condition, epigynous. And when we are talking about epigynous, we can mention the margin of thalamus grows upward, clear, enclosing the ovary completely and getting fused with it. The other parts of the flower arises above the ovary. Now such kind of ovary should be considered as, if ovary was above, we said it superior. Here the rest of the floral members are superior. So ovary must be, yeah, right, it must be inferior in that cases. So here the symbol will be G and the line is upside. This one. Okay. This is epigynous. Right. Next, about the rest of the parts of the flower. Bracts. When we were studying inflorescence at that time, I told you one thing, and I told you that there may be some leafy appendages. This is peduncle, means the floral axis on which the flowers are coming. And these are pedicel. They may be having this leafy appendage, this one, whose axil is bearing the flower. Or you can say the structure that this leafy appendage is present at the base of pedicel. That is called as what? Bract. That is the structure which we used to call as bract. Remember this one. Okay, remember these words, right? So I am saying that these structures are what? Bract. So bracts are specialized leaves which bear flower in their axil. They may be small, they may be absent, depends. If they are present, the flower will be called as bracteate. There is a symbol for this. Such flower will be written as BR. Okay, and if bracts are absent, then we used to call it as EBR, E bracteate. Okay, right? So there are certain type of variations in appearance of bracts you can observe. In euphorbia, we have studied the bract is going to form involucre, means what? Cup-like structure, if you remember. Okay, in which we were observing the male and female naked flowers or achlamydeous flowers. Spathe is what? The large colorful, the large colored, and the other thing about large and colored is what? That it was covering the inflorescence. Petaloid means what? Petaloid means which is appearing as petal. In bougainvillea, the flowers are too much small in sizes, means they are indistinct. So they are getting surrounded, means in bougainvillea what you are seeing as pink, white, purple, yellow, orange type of structures, or maybe white, those are actually bracts, those are not the petals. Okay, that structure is bract. So petaloid means colored as petals, as we are observing in bougainvillea. Whereas glooms are what? Glooms are dry bracts, means they are not that much brightly colored or something, and that are too minute, maybe not bearing the florets. So that is the thing we used to observe in wheat. So these are different kind of bracts. We need to memorize, we need to remember about one, spathe, other one, petaloid. Rest is not that much needed. Okay, next, moving to the further, after the bract is the structure which we are calling as calyx. Now calyx is the thing that I am telling you is represented by, I am repeating again, K. Now the thing is, these members mean the sepals may be fused. If they are fused, I will call this condition as gamosepalous. And number 2, if X is number of sepals, if X is number of sepals, then we have simple things. If X is the number of sepals, then we used to say when sepals are fused, and that time I will write like this, K X within the bracket. So the bracket is representing what? The bracket is representing here, bracket represents cohesion, means they are fused with each other, right? They are fused with each other, fine. If the sepals are free, very nice, no problem then. Polysepalous. Okay, then we used to say K and X. Easy. Any example? Yeah, example is there, mustard. Example of that one, the gamosepalous. Pea, bean, gram. Or you may see this in brinjal. If brinjal, then tomato. Tomato, then chili, etc., etc. Okay, fine. The sepals may be modified for other structures, or you can say doing something else. For example, in the fruit of Trapanatans, means water chestnut, or vernacular name singhara, that structure is having spines on the surface. Those spines are actually modification of calyx. The same way in sunflower, the calyx is hairy. The hairy calyx is called as pappus, and this is somehow going to help in dispersal of fruit. Means support the fruit to fly, float in the air, to reach the distant places. Okay, that kind of condition we used to say about pappus. The other one, the advertisement flag, what? In Musanda we are observing the sepal is much larger in sizes, and that sepal which is larger in size is going to present itself as a distinct structure. Means we were not expecting that it's a sepal actually. It seems like something which is a leaf. Okay, so that is seen in Musanda. This is classic. Remember this, don't forget. We are reading so many of the things about sunflower from the beginning itself. We have studied about the phyllotaxy in sunflower. We have studied about inflorescence in the sunflower, right? So many things. And further also we are going to continue with it. Okay. The next is after calyx, the things we need to know about calyx are much more. Why? We are observing that most of the structures are going to shed after fertilization. But this is not same for calyx, or may not be same for some other parts like style. Clear? So let me see here. So duration of sepals, see this. So sepals when getting shed means we are seeing the floral bud opens and the sepals shed. This is called as caducus, as we see in poppy. Poppy scientific name Papaver somniferum. Have you heard about opium? Yeah, the same plant. Okay. Next, deciduous. This word is not new for us, right? We have already studied this word deciduous when we were studying about leaves. So deciduous means the leaf, obviously this structure is going to shed, but when? The thing is when pollination took place, as we seen mustard. The next one is persistent. Persistent means no, we are not going to leave the structure. We will stay even when the fruit is formed. The green color cap like structure on the brinjal, if you are observing, right? What is that? That green kind of structure over here. This is persistent calyx in brinjal. The eggplant or brinjal is having persistent calyx. Not only brinjal. We can mention the same thing about the examples from the same group, same family, that is tomato, chili, etc., etc. Okay. Remember about which one? Persistent. Even for sunflower, persistent. Clear? For the case of Trapanetans, the first one, persistent. I must write these words here. Sunflower, and Trapanetans. Trapanetans, scientific name, common name is water chestnut. Okay, so these are the three kinds. Remember, sepals may persist after fertilization, means on the fruit. Okay, next, corolla. So corolla is represented as C. Okay, and then we are saying that if when all the petals are free, we will call it as polypetalous. If X is the number of petals, I must write CX. When petals are fused, sym or gamopetalous. C, X is the number in the bracket. Okay, any examples for these? Yeah, definitely examples are there. Examples are there. For polypetalous condition, we have the example like mustard. Then for gamopetalous, we have the example which is petunia, datura, belonging to the same family. Family of brinjal, family of tomato, potato, the same. They are gamopetalous. Petals are fused. Another example where petals are free, pea, bean, gram, these one. Okay, so these are the things that we are telling about corolla here, means the petals. Okay, now the thing is how these floral leaves, means the petals and sepals, are present within their circle, within their world. That is called as aestivation. Clear? That is named as aestivation. Although corolla forms are different, we are going to study the corolla forms first. A small description is given in the book that corolla may appear as cross, means petals are at 90 degree, petals are at 90 degree, right? Wheel shaped, this one which is also called as caryophyllaceous. Okay, they are appearing as a wheel, or you may be having the example like bell shape, means campanulate, or not even this much. The other example can be like the infundibuliform, means funnel shaped. Okay, or you may be having tubular, tube-like structure, and here papilionaceous means the butterfly. Okay, let me tell you some important examples of these all, right? Where we are observing the cross form is seen in mustard. The mustard family was formerly named as cruciferae. It is only on the basis of what? The type of corolla they have. Okay, this is seen in dianthus. Leave it, not that much important, means not that much relevant. Here bell shape is in campanula, gone, not at all needed. This one funnel shaped is seen in where? We can see this one in tobacco. The tubular type of corolla we have already studied, if you remember. This was disc florets in sunflower. And this butterfly type of thing, this is seen in pea. Clear? Papilionaceous corolla or butterfly shaped corolla, pea, bean, gram, such are the example which are showing this. See, this is large petal. Okay, these are very small petals. Fine. That type of thing we used to study about papilionaceous corolla. Coming to the structure that we used to call as aestivation, means that how the floral leaves, particularly sepal, petals, we are going to take the examples of petals only, that they are present with respect to each other within their world. Okay, that is called as aestivation. Don't get misled, because aestivation word is there in other portions of biology as well. Here in morphology, aestivation means the mode of arrangement of sepals or petals in the floral bud with respect to the other members of the same world. That is called aestivation. Let us see, okay, what we are going to have here. That this is the example, petal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I am going to put a dot over here. Now what it is showing, this is mother axis or you can say posterior side of the flower. If this is posterior side, then this will be considered as anterior side. So we need not to put marks on either places. No, one only is sufficient. That this one mother axis, posterior side. So here I am saying the petals may be fused or may be free, but they are not overlapping, right? They are not overlapping. They may be present like this, touching, just touching each other. Okay, they must be touching each other, or they may not be touching each other, but they are not going to overlap. They are not going to overlap. That kind of condition is called as velvate. Seen in calotropis, very important. Brinjal means obviously tomato, potato, chili, and mustard, obviously in radish as well. Okay, so this is velvate. The second type of example is called as twisted. Now here the petals are not touching each other, instead they are getting overlapped in this manner. Now the thing is, successive petals, if they are showing overlapping pattern, see overlapped but this one free. Here this one free but this is overlapped. So there is a manner, means we can say alternately. They are overlapped free in this order. So that is called as twisted or contorted, as we see in cotton, ladyfinger, China rose. Okay, then coming to the next one, the classic. Here also alternate pattern is there, or you can say twisting is there, but that is not in a definite direction. As I told you, this is posterior side or mother axis. What I am observing, see this petal is on inner side, both the sides are overlapped. And see this one, here both the sides are free. So here I am saying the posterior petal is inner, right? Why it is inner? As compared to the sizes, you can say being small. Okay, small, among all it is smaller, right? And this one, this is anterior petal, right? The anterior petal is, about the anterior petal I am saying it is outer, free from both margin, you can see this. And that is, here I am saying being larger, it is out. Okay, it is outer being larger. Small, that's why inner. So we are saying other members are getting twisted or getting alternate. Okay, one margin free, other is overlapped, but there is no particular direction. Okay, bookish language of NCERT. When both the margin of one petal are covered and the other two petals and both the margins of another one covers other, rest are arranged in twisted manner, that structure is imbricate. So we are saying that this is the imbricate aestivation. Okay, example is cassia, not for first time. We have learned this cassia example obviously earlier as well. Gulmohar also again repeated. Okay, in inflorescence we have studied about cassia and gulmohar both, right? Next, about the other feature that is called as vexillary aestivation. Now this is nothing other than what? Butterfly corolla. Okay, now see this very carefully. This is mother axis. Now here I am saying posterior one is, posterior petal is one thing, large, yes, outer, yes, even that much outer that it is surrounding the lateral two. These are two lateral petals. These are two lateral petals, fine. Okay, and these two you can see the anterior side, they are going to fuse. Anterior, not petal, I will write petals. How many? Two. What happened to them? They are fused, but even after that they remain inner or overlapped. Why? Because they are small, maybe. So the anterior petal is innermost and the posterior petal is outermost and largest. So we have different names for them. We have different names for them. This is nothing other than butterfly corolla. Means pea and bean. Okay. So we used to say the posterior, which is large, outermost as well, is stated as standard or vexillum. The lateral two are called as wings or alae. Whereas the other one, what? Anterior two. How many petals in total? 5. Anterior two are two fused small. They are forming boat-like structure. They are forming boat-like structure, which is keel or carina in name. The name of this boat-like structure is keel, seen in P and B. This is vexillary aestivation. The other name is descending imbricate, just opposite to the previous one, right? That was stated as ascending imbricate. This is descending imbricate. Okay. So this is the thing that we need to study about the aestivation and about the structure of the parts of flower so far. Now we need to study about the sexual parts as well, androecium and gynoecium, in the coming class. But by the way, I need to make you remind about that if you are watching us on the YouTube live, then definitely you need to subscribe the channel and press the bell icon so that you get the notification of the upcoming classes and the new schedule. Secondly, if you are watching on the Yupp Master app, definitely you need to attend for the DPPs. Clear? You need to go for the daily practice paper so that you can improve your skills. You can become more and more efficient and accurate if you are following the test papers over there, right? So hope you are all enjoying the classes at Yupp Master. Thank you. Stay safe. Thank you for watching on the YouTube live as well as on the Yupp Master app. All the best.